Right now we're just going to have a look at how to insert for Age of Comics The Golden Years. And this is for the collector's edition box with the sleeve and everything else. So how do we get it all in? First off, as advised by this leaflet here, just take all our punch boards and just slip them in at the very bottom to keep everything level. So these just go in there. You'll see I've left the coins and I've left the mastery tokens in mine. That's because I've upgraded to the extra pieces, but otherwise you just punch them out as well and just be completely empty boards. Just leave room for the main board out the back and the smaller insert just at the front here. So it's quite nice that they're in halves, so you can actually take them out, especially this one, so you can just bring this out next to the game board so you've got all the tokens next to you instead of leaving them loose. So we're going to fill up the back board first. All of our idea tokens are just going to go in the back slots here, like so, but a bit neater. And just add in the war ones in there in the 7th slot. Even if you don't use them, they've got a nice little space to hold them. So in our next row, first up we're going to have our writer and artist improvements, or your little 2s and 3s for training and improving. And obviously one side gets the artists and one side gets the writers. Next up, all our better colour tokens can just go in this little compartment there. And we can stick all our hype tokens in the one just here. So this next little slot is going to hold all of our war comic books, and they've lined it up nicely so all the war ideas are just next to them too. Next up, we've got all our mastery tokens. These are the enamel ones, but if you've got the cardboard that still fits, and they'll just go in there. Sticking war at the bottom. If you're not using the expansion, you can just leave that in the insert. And then we'll just have all our VP tokens with the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s. Money slots next, and again I've upgraded, so I've got the metal coins, so I'll just stick my 2s and my 1s and my 5s and my 10s. If you didn't have these, you just put all the cardboard coins in the slots, they'd also fit. And then we can just slide the little plastic insert over there to hold all that in place, and then we get these nice 4 slots here to fill. Each one's going to get a disc of the player colour, the 3 extra action cubes, their turn order marker, and finally their 5 workers. And slot the cover on the top there to keep them all in place. One thing to notice is the workers are slightly taller than the depth of the space, so if you try to put the lid on and the workers are stood up, you'll see we get a little bit of a gap. So you just want to make sure everyone's lying down on their side. And it should close neatly like so. Now we continue filling out the comics. So you'll have 10 for each of these. You'll have the 5 regular comics and the 5 rip-offs. And these can go in 2 ways. They can either sit there like normal tokens will. So you can lie them on the side. But I find it harder to get them in like this, and also slightly harder if I want to get them out. So instead I'll just lie them on their side. Much easier. Finishing off, we're going to have all the sale order tokens going in its bottom right. I'll start with the war first. Put them in the bottom. Because I'm not using expansion, they can stay there. And because it's easier to sort them out and all the rest. What with the fact they've all got the unique war back compared to everything else. Then this bottom left space. We've got space to keep all our super duper travel tickets. And then a space for the calendars. And again, war's going to sit at the bottom. Because if I'm not using it, he can just stay in there. I put all the playing cards for play in there, so all the writers, all the artists, and then all the comic books, all the rip-off comic books too. And then in the final insert slot, first up all the objective cards, they'll just fit in nicely at the bottom. And on top of them I'm going to put the 6 special order sales tokens, because on the back they all look similar, so sometimes it can be hard to sort them out from there. So just at the bottom out of the way until I decide I want to use them in the game. On top of that I'm going to stack all the cards that aren't used and expansions and optional and so on. So I'm going to have all my foreign language reminder cards that I won't need, plus my Dear Player extra card. Keep that just in there. Next up, all the solos. Then I got the Public Enemy cards. Until I mix them in with the main comics, they'll just stay there. Same with the dual artists and writers. Until I mix them up with the main comics, they're just going to stay in there. Then all the comics for the war expansion, they'll stay there too. Then we've got all the guest artist comics and all their rip-offs. And again, I want to get at least one game under before I start putting them in. So they'll just wait in here for the time being. And then finally, all the English reminder cards, which are the only cards I'll need from this stack. And they'll just sit in the top for now. Missed that one. And the score pad just rests on there. The 4 player boards just slot on top of that bit nicely. The main board fits just there. And take all the rule books. And there we go. There we have it. We've inserted Age of Comics. All nice and easy. And as I said before, that's for the sleeved collector's edition from the Kickstarter. The regular edition just has a completely different insert, which I think is slightly more obvious where everything goes because you don't have the war expansion and possibly some of the extras there that this one has. I think it's just got 4 main pockets as far as I'm aware. You can see how nice and easy it is to have the insert mid-game. So it's all set up and we're playing, and if I need something I can just take it out of the supply like some coins, or if my friend wants to get some ideas I can just pass them over and he can just slip out a couple of idea tokens and then just return it back. There we are, insert complete. Hope that was helpful, and just follow the links to continue watching about the game. Cheers!